So I'm a little bit over a year late to this movie. Warfare came out in 2025, back in March of 2025, and I watched it yesterday. So it's on all streaming platforms pretty much. It's on Hulu, HBO Max, YouTube TV, Prime Video, all that. And if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. The movie's based off a true story. There was a firefight that occurred in Ramadi, Iraq back in 2006. And it was written and co-directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. So Ray Mendoza actually was in this firefight. So Ray Mendoza was one of the Navy SEALs that had to live through this event. And the entire film is a direct retelling from memory of what happened that day. So anything that wasn't remembered by himself or some of the other survivors that he consulted with about when writing this movie as well, anything they didn't remember wasn't in the movie. So this is pretty much as accurate of a view into their minds and what they went through this day as we could possibly get. The whole film, it was made as a tribute to another Navy SEAL named Elliot Miller. So Elliot Miller is another survivor of this battle, and he got blown up by an IED over the course of this mission when he was when his team was trying to get him evacuated out. He had already sustained an injury, and in the process of loading him up into a tank to be able to get him out of the area, he got blown up by an IED, and then in turn lost his memories due to a TBI from this event, and he doesn't remember what happened that day. So Ray Mendoza got the idea to recreate what occurred for his friend as a tribute to his friend, to be able to give him closure and help him to, as surprising it is, to some people, why would someone want to remember this event, right? Especially if it was so grisly. But to give closure to Elliot Miller and then to help him to answer questions that his children would one day ask him, Ray Mendoza decided to go ahead and recreate the battle they lived through. And it's amazing. It's a great movie. I recommend it to everybody, as if you watch it at least just once, you're going to get a deeper look into the mind, into the lives of these guys that they have to live through. It's insane. They go through hell, and this story is like one of hundreds, if not thousands of stories, right, that other SEALs, other battlefield military members have to live through, and then deal with the after effects from that for the rest of their lives. So it's like, yeah, people glorify it, but these are real people who have real lives and families, and they go through these events, and they have to, somehow keep on pushing. So the movie definitely absolutely shows you a new view into the psyche of these individuals, right? Like into the mindset that they have and the resiliency that they exhibit going through these battles, and then being able to reintegrate back into everyday life back in the States. So pretty much this battle, just like the dirty, right, like what happened, this Navy SEAL detachment, they were in Iraq, and they were doing was a pretty routine mission profile at the time. So essentially they would set up in different homes that belonged to locals of the area, and they would commandeer these houses, and they would use them as advantageous positions to collect intel on terrorist cells. And that's what they were doing. They're doing it very common, actually, and so much so to the extent that, yeah, obviously bad guys would start to pick up, right? Like, humans aren't stupid, and they started to pick up on the patterns, right? And this example was just one of the examples of this going awry. And so the movie progresses. They're setting up at this local's house. They're like posted up, and they're watching to identify different terrorists and gathering intel. Eventually, a different detachment that's somewhere else doing their own mission gets into a troops in contact situation, and the close air support that was over our team that we are watching gets pulled over to the troops that were in contact to help with them. So our team now doesn't have close air support, and they're pretty much just like left alone, but like to their own devices, which, yeah, immediately goes wrong, because when the planes leave, the terrorists realize that, and because, again, they're not stupid, and they hear the planes leave, so what do? Push in on the house, And the rest of this movie is this Navy SEAL team fighting for their lives, and you're seeing them. They're requesting help, and they're not getting it because of just the nature of how comms are when you're downrange, and you're getting like a real introspective glance like into what these guys are dealing with, and it's absolutely brutal. It's insane. Like you see the entire time like they're getting blasted on and trying everything that they possibly can to survive and battling through and keeping each other alive. And eventually, like, the movie goes like from when they're setting up at this house to when eventually they're able to get evac out of this location. The movie's an hour and 30 minutes, which was like the perfect length of time. So it's just an hour and 30 minutes of just high octane. What the hell is happening? Like, these guys are just like trying to survive as hard as they can. So I think that anyone that watches this movie would get a better idea of what SEALs and other battlefield soldiers go through whenever they're downrange. And it kind of makes you think like, hey, like, you know, is it worth it for them, right? Like, are they getting what's due whenever they return back to the States? And a lot of the time, honestly, no. And I think it should make people think, and it is very thought-provoking for that reason, and it is something that should be considered 100%, right? Whenever you see someone, whenever you meet the next soldier that you meet that's been through probably a very similar story to these guys and has lived through a battle like this, and then these guys got to go through, you know, reintegration back in the United States. So you're going from watching your friends die, you're going from living through this like insanely traumatic event to having to reintegrate back into everyday life and get some like regular Joe Smo job, and it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty insane. I'm not going to give the movie like a 1 to 10. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I think everybody should go see it, if not at least one time, because I think in today's society, you hear a lot of people glorify war, or they'll glorify like, you know, hey, these guys are like, I can do that. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be that guy, right? Like, I'm going to go and be like a badass and kill people. And it's like, realistically, no, you're probably not. At the end of the day, you're probably not going to be that guy. And just for the simple fact that like the mindset that these people have is just completely different from like the natural person. And this things that they fight through and go through in their job, it's pretty unbelievable. And I think the movie does a good job of like not glorifying war and just telling the story that it's supposed to tell in a very direct and visceral way. And I found that extremely refreshing, especially the fact that they didn't like add any kind of filler, like anything into the movie. Like, what you see is what they can remember actually happening. So for that, it was fantastic. Please go watch it. It's really good. Again, it's streaming. I personally watched it on Hulu, and you know, it's on Hulu, HBO, again, YouTube TV, and Amazon Prime right now. So watch it if you haven't. I think you'll really enjoy it. It'll make you think. And yeah, that's all I got on that one. So I'll see you later.